If you own a kayak or are thinking about buying one, chances are you've had to think about how to get it to and from the water. I happen to own 3 kayaks and 1 canoe. So today that's what I'm going to talk to you all about, is how I transport my watercraft to and from the water. There are tons of ways to get to and from the water, and trust me, I've probably tried them all out. With the exception of trailering, it's just not appealing to me and not my style. I don't like what you have to go through in order to trailer something behind your vehicle. Now, since I own a small little Chevy S10 truck, the setup that I have right here is the Boonedox Outfitter. Now, it's not your typical rack that Boonedox sells. What I have done is order 2 of these things, and I have drilled 32 holes in order to set them side by side. So if you go to Boonedox's website, which I highly recommend, not because they're paying me or I'm getting anything out of like this sort of endorsement of their product, it's because I wholeheartedly believe in this thing, and I can now feel comfortable about safely transporting the kayaks to the water and then back home. They're strapped down and I know they're solid. They're not going to go anywhere. So when you go to Boonedox's website, you're not going to see this advertised because it only comes with 1 rack. And after taking a long hard look at this, I realized that 2 racks would actually fit side by side on it, and that's what I did. All right, first and foremost, this is really portable, so whenever I'm not transferring the kayaks, I can retract these rails right here, which they just slide in and out, and I can just go about my business driving back and forth, running errands and things of that nature. The next thing is the height. The rack itself is above your bed, so unlike using the bed extender, which goes out about 4 feet and then your kayak rides inside the bed of your truck, that leaves the kayak subject to people people following behind you really close. And chances are, if they're not paying attention or they're texting or there's just a lot of traffic, eventually your kayak is going to get rear-ended. It's happened to me in New Jersey once whenever I was coming back from a fishing trip, and yeah, that was just a tough pill to swallow, having to wait for insurance and everything. So that is number 2 reason why I love this setup. It's at a height where you can see the wife's car right here. If she was behind me, it's right inside her windshield, right in front of the face, and there's just no way for you to not see it. Unlike your typical truck rack that sits above the hood of your truck right here, this is a lot lower. So whenever you have that heavy kayak, which my kayaks are heavy, I don't complain about it because this right here is doable. Just lifting the kayak up to the bed, the rails of my truck, it's not that hard. So there is no heavy lifting going higher, like lifting my arms above my head just to get them on the rack. I don't have to deal with that. So the next thing is gear and storage of the things that you're going to be taking on a fishing trip, whether it's going to be long or just your daily trip. The bed of my truck is empty, so I can take 2 kayaks out there. The tailgate is going to stay up, and all my Mirage drives, the PDL drive, paddles, tackle, the crates, everything can come back inside the bed of the truck, and then that leaves the back seats empty for all my camera equipment, the very expensive stuff that's got to go along with me. That is empty, and this now can just basically take everything that I'm going to go out there on the water with that's fishing in nature can just go back here. So that's definitely a plus. You've got 2 pins on each one of these cradles that are located right here, just the way they are right there. And once you remove these two, you can pull the rack out. Now there are, I want to say, 2 or possibly 3 lengths as far as the position. You can have it a little bit further in or further out, and that's a plus depending on how long your kayak is. And whenever you're not using it, you can just lock them in place like this to where you can drive around and you're just not extended super far out. So that's a good thing. And then also the rack itself, it's not made out of steel or anything like that. This thing is very high grade aluminum. In some areas for the extensions, that's about a 1/4 inch thick aluminum right there. So that's really high quality. Over here, all the black railing, all of this stuff is about 1/8 of an inch thick. Some of it is a little bit in between 1/8 and 1/4. So it being aluminum, that means it's super lightweight. You're not lugging around something that's big and heavy. Now right here you have a rubber cradle that accepts the bow of your kayak. It just mounts right inside there, and then you can strap it in knowing that your kayak is not going to slide forward and go through your windshield if, heaven forbid, you got to brake super fast. Each cradle comes with 2 rollers, and these rollers are pretty heavy duty nylon that will protect it from breaking down in the sun. They will fade. You can see that this one is faded a little bit in comparison to the brand new one that we just added to the rack. But these rollers, what that allows for is, for when you put the kayak on, they're going to spin around as you start pushing that kayak forward. And it's also going to protect the plastic of your hull from going on something that's super heavy. Now the rollers are wrapped around a nice about 1/8 inch aluminum tube, and then at the end of each aluminum tube you have some type of high durable PVC type plastic, and it's got a little loop right, or a little hole right here for what I use on my straps is the ratchet ones that have a metal hook, and that's what I use to lock down. So each cradle will use 3 straps per kayak. So one right here at the very end, like back here, and then you've got one for the middle of the kayak. And then the other strap that I do is I go through the Mirage drive well, or the PDL drive well, which sits about right here. I wrap the strap all the way around there, and then around this bar to kind of cinch it down against, sorry about that. So what I do is I cinch, I wrap, or I ratchet the strap to where it cinches down nice and tight against this rubber boot right here that holds the bow into place. Holding everything together is a bunch of high quality steel. You've got these U-bolts, and then inside each of these holes right here there are some stainless steel nuts and bolts that are locked down with I think it's like the Teflon nut, where it just locks itself down and it's not going to back itself out. So just rest assured that you're not going to lose anything. Now what affixes the entire rack system to my truck is a total of 4 heavy duty stainless steel bolts and then nuts. Now, being that I'm not going to transfer this rack from vehicle to vehicle, it's permanently fixed on my truck, so I drilled holes into the bed itself and tightened those nuts down. I can carry 3 kayaks if need be with the use of the Boonedox T-Bone right here. This just is a fancy bed extender, and I say the word fancy because it's, again, just like the Outfitter itself, it's high quality aluminum. And if you notice that I can lift it with one hand, so manipulating this thing to go in and out of my truck receiver is a cinch. So what's the cost of one of these? It's going to set you back approximately $650 is what they retail for. So when you do the math, 2 of them is going to be a bit over $1,200 bucks. And I hear you. I know what you're saying. That is an absurd amount of money to spend on 2 racks. So it's definitely not going to be the solution for every one of y'all out there. And I also hear you saying, well, you could have just purchased a trailer to take your kayaks to and from, and then you could mount X amount of kayaks on that trailer. And yeah, you definitely can, but what is not appealing to me as far as the trailer route, that comes with a whole set of issues in its own. For one, you have to register your trailer. I do not have to register this. 2, you have to purchase tires for your trailer ever so often. And then you also have to deal with lubricating the bearings. That's just extra maintenance. There is no maintenance required for this right here. The next thing, if you live in the South, trailering is not going to be an issue. However, if you live in the Northeast, and I'm only speaking about the Northeast because I have lived there before, when you take toll roads or when you go over toll bridges or anything like that, you have to pay per axle. And that, going from, let's just say hypothetically, from Connecticut all the way down to New Jersey, or maybe even further, there are a ton of tolls, and that's going to add up really quick, and it's going to hurt the wallet. So that's another reason why I would hate to do the trailer route. And then the second thing is, whenever we're done fishing, we go out and eat at restaurants. You have to worry about parking your trailer wherever it is that you go. There has to be enough space, and in the summertime near the water, that's hard to come by. The next thing is the trailer. You're gonna have to figure out where you're gonna park it after you launch. So with my truck, I don't have to worry about that. I just retract these rails in, put the Boonedox, the T-bone, inside my back seat, and then that's it. Off we go. We're gonna have a great day on the water. I don't have the added hassle of that trailer. So I could go on and on why I hate the idea of trailering a kayak. I mean, for some of you it may work, but just for me and for what I do, the price that I spend is definitely worth it. I go fishing approximately 4 times out of the week, so that is a lot. And whenever I spend approximately $3,000, $2,000 or so per kayak, and that's what I'm hauling, this is a justified price to me to ensure that my kayaks are safely strapped down. Also, the Texas heat, it gets very hot in the summertime. I am sweating up a storm right now. And when the sun is beating down on your kayaks, if you stack them on top of each other, the plastic gets soft and they start to get deformed. So doing it this route right here, it's the way that I have come to love. It's a game changer for me. We're on and off the water really quick. Or actually, we unload and load up really quick with using this route, and the kayaks are going to be safe. All right, everyone, that's all I have for y'all. I just wanted to tell y'all about the Boonedox Outfitter and how it helps me to get my kayaks to and from the water. If you enjoyed the video, click that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you enjoyed it, hey, do me a favor, click that subscribe button. Until next time, tight lines, y'all.